Hello, lovely people. New adventure unlocked. I'm headed to the next game. My mama's here. We're going to Aqua Zumba. I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am trying fencing today. I'm just there for the vibes. I know nothing about baseball. I'm there for the vibes. Hello, lovely people. I am back. I'm about to do another show review. All right. I feel like because of the controversy of the show, I need to give a disclaimer. One, there's a political component to this show. So because there's a political component to the show, let me say why I'm reviewing the show. Number one, I like the Chrisleys. I have been watching the Chrisleys since they've been on USA. So I'm very invested in hearing about their story and why they got to where they got to. Two, I am not a MAGA supporter. I am not affiliated with MAGA. I have a different political view, and you can have a different political view with someone and still like them, okay? So, full disclaimer, I was a registered Democrat. Why? Because that's what I saw my daddy do. I mean, that's what happens. You grow up in a family, they're one way, so you're like one way. But as I have been getting older, I am now a registered independent. So I vote according to issues, not according to parties, because in my opinion, both parties are jacked up. All right, now, let's go back to the beginning of the Chrisleys. Now, remember they had a show on USA, but no one knew that when they had the show, they were fighting a Fed case. So and the show, as they said, was scripted, but you could tell it was scripted because, I mean, some of the stuff that we're doing, I was like, come on, is this real life? So now they are revamping themselves and now they are back on Lifetime. So the show basically opens up giving a history of the family. Now let's talk about the main characters. We have Todd Christley, who is the father figure. He is larger than life. He's a Southern man. There's rumors about Todd being gay. Do I think Todd's gay? No, I don't. I feel like he's just a sassy, feminine man. But if he's gay, so what? As long as him and Julie are cool with it, who am I? Who am I? Right? Then there's Julie. Julie, to me, feels safe, right? So Todd is this like outgoing, like larger than life, like in your face, tell her like it is, will read you for filth, right? And Julie is calm. Julie feels safe. She's nurturing. You know, she is level-headed. That's how I describe Julie, right? Now, prior to Julie and Todd getting married, Todd had 2 kids from an outside relationship, but he was married to her, and it sounds like he really hates the ex-wife. Anyway, her name is Teresa. They had Kyle and they had Lindsay. Kyle, as we know, have had a lot of mental health issues, has had some drug issues. Lindsay, I feel like, is the daughter that feels left behind, you know, and she's compared to Savannah a lot. Now, Julie and Todd got married, and then they had Savannah. They had Chase first. She was pregnant with Chase when they got married. Chase was born in May, and Chase was like born in like June. They got married in May, and then Savannah's 14 months apart. Then they have Grayson. Now Grayson was this little kid on USA, and for him to be this grown man, it's like so crazy to me. Then there's Nanny Faye. Now Nanny Faye is hilarious. That is Todd's mother, and I can see why Todd is the way that he is because of Nanny Faye's attitude. She tells it like it is. She plays no game. She is sassy. She don't give a F. Love Nanny Faye. Then there's Julie's parents, right? Now, Julie's dad was a pastor, and the mom, I'll talk about that later, unfortunately, had to go back to work. So it opens up by giving you a history of the family. Now, Todd, at the time of filming, Todd and Julie are incarcerated. They had like 7 to 12 charges, I don't know, of like fraud and tax evasion and all this stuff. Now, In my mind, at first I was thinking, well, you must have did something to get all those years. But as I've been reading into the story, I'm not quite sure it's all like black and white. And I'm hoping that they'll talk a little bit more about it on the show. The dynamics of the family now. And the reason why I really want to, the reason why I want to review this show, because I like that now that Todd is out of prison, because he does get out of prison, as we know, he is using his privilege to help other prisoners that don't have a voice. So that I like about him, right? But you know, this show also talks about incarceration and the layers and layers of trauma that it causes, whether you're white, black, whoever. Incarceration, it creates a generational trauma. So I'm really curious to see how this family is going to go through this. It opens up with Savannah is basically just fighting for her family because she feels like no one would do it, right? So she presented at the RNC. She's been trying to meet with the president. She's been talking to senators, Congress. Like, no matter your political affiliation, you cannot say that Savannah is the daughter that you want in your corner when a parent is in a jam. So I will say, like, kudos to Savannah. But there is also a lot of pressure on Savannah because now, because Julie and Todd are in prison for all these charges, now she has to be a surrogate mother to Chloe. Now, Chloe is Kyle's daughter, but they adopted Chloe when she was younger, but they never terminated Kyle's rights. So in the show, a few months before they went to prison, they terminated Kyle's rights because they didn't want Kyle to come back and get Chloe, which is a good thing because, you know, the mom has mental issues, I think, or drug issues, and Kyle's messed up. And Todd and Julie are all who Chloe knows. Now, Chloe is biracial because Kyle's girlfriend or whatever, or ex-girlfriend, Angela, is black. Okay, so there's layers to that as well. So now Savannah has to be a surrogate mother to Grayson and to Chloe, right? She has to take him on, she has to feed him, make sure in school, and they're both going through milestones. Chloe is going to school and Grayson is going to college. They're about to have this family dinner. The family has not been together in 2 years. And here's the thing about when the glue of the family is in prison, it's almost like a death, right? Now, I remember Julie's father was saying they are in prison, we're all in prison, but just in a different capacity. And he couldn't even be even more right. From what I have read and know about the Chrisleys, it is crazy to me that it has been 2 years since the whole family has been in one room. So it's like a build up to this dinner that they're about to have, right? But you see Savannah basically saying like, look, since my parents have been in prison, nobody has helped me out. But I'm going to try and show Savannah a lot of grace because I know she's under a lot of pressure. But I'm going to say this to Savannah. I don't know if Savannah wants to help, like Chase said. Because Chase said, Savannah wants to be the one to say that she's done it. And I also don't like the fact that seems to be a competition between Chase and Savannah that I just is really, really toxic, right? So while Savannah says she wants to help, I don't know if she's just saying that or she really wants to help. Because I wonder, Savannah, have you said, hey, Chase, Chloe has to be in school Monday through Friday. I need you Wednesday to Friday to pick Chloe up from school. And has Chase said no? I don't know. I just don't see Chase being like, no, I'm not going to pick Chloe up from school. Or no, I'm not going to help Grayson with X, Y, and Z. I don't know. But I also know that Chase also had some legal issues, right? Like some alcohol issues. So again, that also shows the layer of what prison does to families. Chase, there's a grief. Everybody deals with the grief differently. Chase has some drug and alcohol issues, I think, allegedly. And Savannah is dealing with the grief of, she's young, she wants to live her life, but now she really can't. There's a lot of pressure on her shoulders, right? And then Julie's mom had to go back to work. I think she's like in her 70s or something. So imagine being in your 70s, your daughter has been providing for you, and now you have to go back to work. Really, 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 really sad, right? And then Nanny Faye, and then also you don't know, like, when you get out of prison, are your parents going to be alive? Now, first of all, they are blessed to have both grandmothers and then have the grandfather. But that's like Julie always did everything, right? And now Julie's not there. So that's another layer when one family is really like the glue. The scene that I might be all over the place, y'all, so forgive me. There's a scene that I got to talk about where Savannah is doing Chloe's hair, and Savannah's like, hey, we have to get ready for school. Like, you're having an attitude. And Chloe's like, I really don't want to go downstairs with all those cameras. And Savannah's like, well, this has been your whole life. And I wish in that moment, Savannah would have had some empathy, because Chloe has lost her mom. First of all, Chloe has lost two moms. Her biological mom, because whether Angela has mental health issues, alcohol issues, whatever, drug issues, that's still her biological mother. And again, that is her Black mother, right? So there's nobody in the family that Chloe identifies with. So I'll talk about that probably in another video. Try not to make this too long. So Savannah, I wish Savannah would have had a little bit more empathy for Chloe and said, you know what? I know that it must be tough right now. Mom is not here, dad is not here, and we're filming. I think Chloe's 11, and I wish Savannah would have been and said, you know what, let's just do the best we can, right? But Savannah was like, well, this has been your whole life, and your hair is a mess. And let me say this, Savannah, I know you don't know, because your blonde hair, blue eyes, and I know you're using it innocently. Again, I'm going to try to have a lot of grace for Savannah, but I need you to be aware of microaggressions, even within your own family. Savannah, I'm going to ask you to try to be sensitive when it comes to Chloe's hair, because if Chloe is around a bunch of white people and you tell her hair is a mess, it's going to almost seem like her hair is less than. I know Savannah didn't mean it like that. Like, oh, your hair is just a mess. But because you have a Black sister, you have to be mindful of certain languages that you use. Now, I do remember Todd saying that he wanted to make sure that Chloe knew of her culture. So he got Chloe like a Black nanny, a Black hairstylist. And I want to know, where's that Black hairstylist at? Now, maybe they couldn't afford it because, Todd is back in prison or whatever. And no, you're not going to be having a Black hairstylist every day. But I do want Savannah to be a little bit more mindful of certain languages that you use, because she's not a white girl. She's a mixed girl. She is a Black girl. Society will see her as a Black girl. So it starts from the home. That's just an education I want to give to Savannah. I'm not trying to read. All right. So, and let's talk about the relationship between Savannah and Chase. It's really sad to see that they are at such odds, because at a time like this, they really should be leaning into each other, not apart. Chase feels resentful of Savannah. They both are saying the same thing. Chase says, my dad enables Savannah. Savannah says, my dad enables Chase. And I think you're both right. Now, from the old show, Christley Knows Best, Savannah was seen as this ditzy, blonde hair, blue eyes. Savannah's beautiful, right? Like she could get away with anything. She's similar to her dad. She's her dad's favorite. And Chase is kind of like left to the side, right? He's like the troublemaker, etc. So Savannah's also right in that Chase probably has been enabled, because Julie did say when she went to prison, there's a lot of things that she did for Chase that Chase had to do on his own, like managing his bank accounts and things like that, right? So I think they're both right, but they really should be leaning in towards each other. The scene where Chase was about to do an interview and Savannah's like coming back and forth and talking, Chase was like, we might as well put a pin in it, because this is how she's going to be, right? Savannah is a control freak, type A, get it done personality, but that is also what drives her. So Chase is basically feeling like Savannah's way or the highway, but the daddy's the same way, And so Chase feels resentful, like, I'm really technically the oldest. I'm the one supposed to be in charge. and Savannah just comes in and just takes over. But also Chase, Savannah says that she has given you plenty of opportunities to step up, and you have not stepped up. So what does that mean? Really wish that Chase and Savannah, maybe they'll show this later on, will sit down and have a conversation about how to I wish they would have a conversation about the position that they're in and how to work together. But there's a lot of resentment. And that happens in the family dynamics where there's higher expectations for Savannah than Chase because of her role, because of her personality, et cetera, right? And also, I don't know if Chase wants that high expectations. Like, Chase says Savannah wants to do it all, but also Chase, have you said to Savannah, hey, what do you need from me, right? Now, Savannah says nobody have financially contributed, but I also wonder, are they even capable? Julie's mom has to go back to work. Julie's parents are living with Chase. So I don't know if anybody's even in the financial position to contribute. That's just my thing. All right. Can we talk about how grown Grayson has gotten? I was like, what the heck? He's about to go to college. He's got a deep voice. And the scene was so sad when he was like, we give you all everything. But his mom recorded a message in a teddy bear. And he's like, I'm not going to give you all this. And that made me tear up a little bit. I was like, dang. And he quit baseball because his mom is the one. Julie reminds me of myself a little bit. I'm the mom that will show up to everything. Like, I don't care. And Julie showed up to everything. And so he just basically didn't want to play baseball without his mama, right? And so, he quit. So let's go to the dinner. First of all, so Todd calls Savannah while they're on their way to dinner. I don't like the conversation that Todd and Savannah was having in front of Chloe, where Savannah was like, oh, you raised some lazy children, but I'm not lazy. Like, this is how, and I wish Todd would have said to Savannah, do not, I love all my children, do not, I don't think Todd helps the situation. I think he also relishes in pitting the kids against each other, in my opinion. I wish Todd would have been like, don't say that about your siblings, and I also don't like that conversation in front of Chloe. I have a feeling that Chloe is exposed to a lot of adult conversations. But again, because of their situation, she's had to grow up really fast, right? So they go to the dinner, and you can tell that Savannah does not like Chase's girlfriend. But she's giving everybody side hugs, right? Now, Julie's grandpa, I'm sorry, you need to back all the way up. Because Savannah is right. She's the one that's out there fighting, and it's not a stroke of a pen. You're talking about the most powerful man in the United States, okay? And Julie's dad is like, well, how many people all need to hear this? And all he needs to do is sign something. Like, are you crazy, sir? Are you crazy? You try to see if you can go get a pardon from the president of the United States. And that's the thing that I say, like, it's the privilege. It's the privilege for me. You're like, they're even lucky that she gets to be in certain rooms where you got millions of incarcerated people who don't even get to be in. So I wish you would have just taken a step back and said, you know what, Savannah, thank you for all the efforts that you're making to do for this family, and not criticizing her. Like, I thought he was all the way wrong, right? Now, the dislike for Savannah, from Savannah to the grandpa is so obvious. And at one point, they need to sit down and talk about their relationship, because she feels like he has chosen Chase, and Chase feels like the dad has chosen her. So there's a lot of like favoritism in the family, which is just not cool. And sometimes that happens in families, right? Like, you just know, you just know that somebody's a favorite. But I wish that they wouldn't make it so obvious, I do like that when the grandpa was going at Savannah, that Chase stood up for her. Chase stood up for her, and Chloe stood up for her, right? So I know that Savannah feels like she doesn't get the credit that she deserves, but in that moment, right, Chase stood up for her. It's like me and my brother, for example. Me and my brother, we clash, okay? We clash. But If somebody's going on at me or somebody's going at him, it's all bets off. Like whatever we were fighting about, forget about it, okay? Like that has been our history. And I like that in that moment, Chase was like, no, Savannah's doing all she can, like lay off her. So kudos, Chase. That was cool. So that was the end of the scene. Overall, I really, really like this show. We know what happens. We know the get out, but now there is Todd's got a whole crusade about sometimes I listen to their podcast, but he has a crusade about outing the prison systems and the justice system. And good for you. Like, good for you. Look, if this is what it took, because, people are like, oh, well, why didn't he do this before? He didn't know. Sometimes you're not in certain situations until you're in it. You're not in certain situations until you don't fight for certain things until it happens to you. Like that was not their world. That was not their life. They probably didn't know somebody that's been to prison. So I want to give this family a lot of grace because I think, yes, this is a blonde hair, blue eye, white family. But I think that hopefully this will open up conversations to the prison system and the damage it does to family. Now I will say this. I believe in law and order. If you've truly done something wrong, there should be punishment for it. But going to prison and being mistreated and eating food that is not for human consumption and being belittled and that, because your punishment is the time that the judge has handed to you. So, I've been hearing all this stuff that Todd's been saying that's been happening to the prison system. And I want to say thank you, Todd, for championing and advocating. I know it is a thankless job and good on you. So I'm curious to see the show and so I'm going to be reviewing it and I'll see you in the next review. Bye, y'all.